Okay, everyone, it's after 9 o'clock, so we're going to call our Economic Opportunity Advisory Council meeting to order for today, Tuesday, October the 15th. Please join me in the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. And as we always do, please join us in a moment of silence as we think about the brave men and women that serve us here locally in law enforcement and first responders on display this, as we discussed this past Sunday, as always, and also the brave men and women of our United States military that serve us here and abroad. Okay, thank you. First order of business is approval of our meeting minutes from September the 17th, 2019, which have been provided to all of us. Entertain a motion on that. Okay, make sure those mics are on, guys. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Then we'll move right into presentations. And this morning we have Ms. Jane Pfeiffer, who's the president of the Volusia Manufacturers Association. And Jane, if it's all right, I'm going to just read your bio for the record. Is that okay? Jane, in her role, advises local state legislators and the governor in advocating for the needs of our local companies. This has resulted in training grants and sales tax waivers for manufacturers. She serves as an advisor to both local colleges and schools. Jane directs the efforts to have course offerings match the needs of the local industry, acting as a conduit between employers and curriculum developers. A lack of workforce is eliminated as a throttle on local economic development. The ranks of the manufacturing community stand behind Jane by supporting fundraisers that have contributed over $144,000 to local schools that expose students to the exciting and lucrative local careers. Prior to joining VMA, she owned LJ Affiliates, a marketing project management company, worked for the Workforce Development Board as the project director, managing public relations, marketing, and various contracts. Her favorite assignment was running the Summer Youth Program, which incorporated math, reading, and basic employability skills into really fun programs for teenagers like photography, theater, and marine biology. And so with an update from the Volusia Manufacturers Association, Jane Pfeiffer.
Good morning, everyone. I always love to come and see you guys, and there's a couple of people that I haven't met yet. October is the month that we choose to come. Helga puts us in because it's Manufacturing Month. And so you heard my bio. So the people that are new, VMA is 39 years old. It serves Flagler and Volusia counties and surrounding counties. Its purpose is to provide education, information, and networking opportunities to our local manufacturers to help them grow. So we're a local care and feeding association to connect the manufacturers to each other and to the community. And when we talk about what can we do to build awareness of manufacturing and what can we do to build a talent pipeline, I am so very excited to tell you about this wonderful thing that we just did. And so we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to introduce Artie Leffler, who is from American Radionics. And he's going to tell you about his company. He's also going to tell you about the wonderful role that he is involved in connecting manufacturers and our students to the wonderful careers that are available in manufacturing. So first of all, on October 5th, we had a robot brawl. I think in the last years, I've told you about, we had a manufacturers showcase where the manufacturers came together and they showed each other what they made, their skills and capabilities. But like anything, after 11 years, you have to freshen it up. And so last year at the manufacturers showcase, the big hit of the event was this little mini robot brawl. So have you heard of Battling Bots? Okay, so we can't use that name. It was the same thing, and we made up Robot Brawl as the name for our event. So we did it at the Jackie Robinson Stadium, and we had 1,000 people in attendance. And let me tell you, from the minute we decided we were going to change from the manufacturer showcase to this robot brawl, I was biting my fingernails because we had no idea how many people were going to attend. We were sure that the kids would bring their parents, so we knew that is what we would have, right? So I'm thinking, oh, we have 100 people in this big stadium. And then they just kept coming and kept coming. And so my daughter and I, Jessica Levitt, who works with me, and she's the event planner, she's the one that put this together, and we're sitting in the office at 5 o'clock. The thing went from 10 to 3, and we worked very closely with the Tortugas. And he called and he said, there's 1,000 people. Because they really can count, right? They have clickers and they're experienced at that. You know, sometimes we would guess how many people we had. We knew for sure how many people were there. And we both just started crying because we couldn't believe that it was so well attended. We had 31 competing bots, and they were sizes 1 pound, 3 pound, 15 pounds. And we had, so we had sponsors, and part of the sponsorship dollars went to the schools so that they could build the bots, because they're expensive to build bots. So that helped them there. And then we had 5 food trucks, and we had team leads, and we had volunteers, over 40 people as volunteers. It was just unbelievable. And the prizes that were given in each category for, you know, the 1 pound, 3 pound, 15 pounds, it was like $1,000, $500, $250 that we gave that. And part of that money, and I know I've told you through the years, is we have the golf tournament, and we can update my introduction because now we've given over $300,000 to the schools that we get in the golf tournament. And we buy CNC machines and 3D printers, and we help with robotics teams together and that kind of thing with those dollars. And then it's always an awareness campaign that we have manufacturing and the careers that we have. But I know that you will be very excited to know. So your team, you had 2 teams in it this year, and you had Wadsworth Elementary, who were always darling, right? Martin Evans is this fabulous teacher at Wadsworth, and they built plastic robots, and so they swept the plastic robot things. I'm going to show you some pictures of those. So you see these little kids. So they're waiting to compete. I always forget that you guys are looking down right here. That was one of their robots. The young man in the hat he was a student. He's in college now. He went to the ADER Academy, Academy of Information Technology and Robotics at Spruce Creek High School. So he now goes up to school at Jacksonville, and he came down so that he was like the referee for this. And you can see one of your little students there in the background. And it was so cool. So that guy in the green, he's videotaping what's going on, and they have this big Robotron, so you could see the action. If you couldn't see it in the field, which was a 10 foot by 10 foot enclosed thing, because you have to be careful because the robots bash each other and the parts go flying. But then you could watch the video, so that was really fun. So you can see the crowds and the kids getting set up, and you can see Martin right there in the front with his little kids, and they're getting ready to compete. Yeah, so, and it just was amazing. Aren't they precious? They're so cute. And these are the students from Flagler Palm Coast High School. So I do have to apologize to Artie, because you probably wanted pictures and whatever, but the photographer didn't clean up the rest of the photos. So I don't have the photos from the larger robots yet. So I couldn't show that to you today. But anyway, in order to make this an effect, what the point of this program was to match manufacturers with the students. And we have the best example of how that worked is what happened at American Radionics. So I want to introduce to you Artie, and he'll tell you about his company, and then he's also going to tell how he's worked with the kids. So Artie, it's yours. And we don't have any more pictures.
Okay, that's good. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Artie Leffler. I'm the CEO of American Radionic, a manufacturer here in Palm Coast, Florida. We've been in Palm Coast, Florida, believe it or not, since 1987, when there was only one light between 95 and US 1. One of the first companies in the industrial park on Hargrove Grade. We are in business since 1939. We started up in Danbury, Connecticut, and moved down here in 87, like I said. We manufacture capacitors for the HVAC industry. We started out manufacturing capacitors for the auto industry. We used to have Ford, Chrysler, GM as our customers. That business went overseas, and we then got into the HVAC industry in the late 80s, early 90s. We employ over 70 people in Palm Coast, Florida, and we are the only U.S.-based manufacturer of capacitors left in the United States. Everybody else is in China or India. We're 100% made in the USA, and one of our slogans is, "You don't need a passport to visit our factory." I've been involved with the company since 1974. I'm a CPA by trade. They were my client up in Danbury, Connecticut. I stayed in touch with them when they moved down here. And about 3 or 4 years ago, they asked me to come down and act as CFO to run the financial end of the company. And about 2 years ago, they asked me to step up to CEO. So now I run the business for them. It's a family-owned business, second generation. And like I said, I've been with them for over 40 years. Recently, when I came down here, we got involved a little bit more closely with VMA. We've always been a member of VMA, even before I came down. But when I came down, I had a passion for the kids and for interns. We were looking to bring people into the plant to work as interns, and I got in touch with Jane, and I got more involved with VMA, and I'm very happy I did. And example is this robot brawl that we just had. We sponsored Flagler Palm Coast High School. Well, we went in and we sponsored a school. We didn't know it was going to be Flagler Palm Coast High School, so they hooked us up at Flagler Palm Coast High School, who had a robotics program, but it really wasn't anything substantial. The instructor was super psyched about the fact that we were going to get involved with them. He was very happy to have somebody helping them out. And every Wednesday, we had their students come over. They brought them over in a little van. And every Wednesday from 3 to 5, I had my whole staff from my mechanics, my engineers, and the children together. And they designed, and we helped them build the robot. It didn't do so well, but we were there. And we're going to learn from it. As a matter of fact, after the event, I got an email the following Monday, that 2 days after the event, from the teacher, and he said to me, "You know, we spoke after the event, and we really want to keep this connection. So can we come in 3 weeks on a Wednesday and go over like a post-battle checklist and try to make some things better and move on towards next year's robot brawl?" And they also found another robot brawl in February at, did I tell you where it was? Spruce Creek? No, here. I think Spruce Creek is having some sort of robot event in February, and they were talking to them at the event, and they're actually going to go and compete in that event, and we're going to help them build the robot. So it was very enriching, and the kids really got engaged. I mean, these kids are really into it. We had some that were more into the mechanical end, some that were into the electronics end, but it's amazing what these kids can do at their age. And we had freshmen through seniors. We had a little bit of an issue because we can't let freshmen and sophomores out on our factory floor because of their age. But the juniors and seniors we can bring out into our machine shop. So we had some of the activities in our lunchroom and some of the activities in the machine shops. We sort of split the roles. But we're going to keep the connection, and I think it's very important. I don't know, Jane didn't mention it, but I'm actually going to be moving up to the chairmanship of VMA next year. So I'm going to stay very closely involved with VMA. And one of the other things that I'm involved with now is a initiative that we just started, which is called FAME, which is Foundation for Advanced Manufacturing. I don't remember what the E stands for, but anyway, education. It's a Toyota-based program that was started by Toyota to basically bring internships into this company and have children go to school or adults go to school and work at the same time. And it's a 2-day school, 3-day work, 2.5-year program, no summers off, and they graduate with a 2-year degree, debt-free, because the pay is set to pay them for not only paying their tuition, but room and board and some meager living expenses. Basically, they get work experience. We get a trained employee, and they get out of school after 2.5 years debt-free. They can continue to go on to their 4-year degree. It's a very regimented program. We just started the first Florida chapter of it. It's called the Sunshine Chapter Fame. I'm on that board also. I tend to get involved when I get into something. So I'm on the board of that, and we actually in the process of picking a college partner to be the education partner for it. It's probably going to be Daytona State College because they have a great program that sort of mirrors what we're doing. But the whole idea is to get more manufacturers into getting into kids working for them into their plants as interns, and we're gearing towards 20 students to join the first cohort of FAME next August at Daytona State, and have 10 or 15 employers that'll have them on as their interns. So I'm excited about that also. That's what we do.
Yeah, can we ask some questions?
Absolutely.
Nationally, in your company, is the hope for that you're going to stay the one American producer of?
Absolutely. We have no intention of doing anything other than that. We have a master distributor who distributes all of our products. He's out of San Antonio, Texas. And the biggest selling point we have is that we're made in the USA. It's proudly displayed on I should have brought some parts with me or a box, but if you go onto our website, AmericanRadionic.com, you'll see we proudly display the American flag, and there's no intention of doing anything other than manufacture in the U.S. in Palm Coast.
That's great, great.
You ship from San Antonio?
We ship to San Antonio, and then they distribute across the country for us. We're 99% U.S.-based as far as our distribution. We do some international.
Does our foreign trade zone help you at all?
It might, actually. I was going to speak to Helga about it. I got some information on it, and it might be helpful. Yes.
Great.
We are slightly affected by the tariffs, so it could help us. Yeah.
It could help you.
Yeah, it could help. Absolutely.
Affected negatively or positively?
Negatively. Because we're paying tariffs on some of the stuff we bring in.
Oh,
'Cause some of our
materials.
components come from China because they just can't be made here. But yeah.
Is it difficult for you to recruit talent, folks to work for you? I mean, obviously, some of that's coming across because of the things you want to do with the students. But overall, is it difficult for you to maintain your workforce?
It's difficult to recruit new people, very difficult. We, especially skilled workforce, which is why we're getting involved in these programs. But even our basic workforce, it's difficult to get people that are reliable, that want to come to work. We do a lot of temporary hiring through some of the local temporary agencies, but we would love not to do that. So any help you could give us. I'm involved also with CareerSource. So, believe it or not, I'm on one of those committees also.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, we could use more assistance in getting more people over. I know Helga has spoken to me about that, and we're going to try to get some programs together where we can leverage some of the programs that we have in the county. We get a lot of people from Palm Coast that do come and apply, but we don't have a real steady track record on new hires. We probably lose 30 to 40% of them within a week or two.
In simple words, can you explain what capacitors do? I mean, I've learned recently through personal experience, but
Don't touch it, right?
Capacitor basically runs your air conditioner. It's a device that keeps the air conditioner from stopping. It produces electric current and basically runs the air conditioner.
we had a couple of ceiling fans that were on the blink, and I'm thinking, oh man, I got to. Somebody says replace the capacitor. So it took a little time to track them down, but I fixed them, and I was a hero for to my wife for having
There you
fixed
go.
them.
Well, one of the things I forgot to mention is we make the only universal capacitor that's patented, and we're the only ones that can make it. You can replace any one of 200 values of capacitors that are out there with one capacitor we have, which is called the Turbo 200. So we patented that about 15 years ago, And that's our claim, one of our claims to fame.
Well, I could have done that in my spa when my capacitors failed in my spa.
Yep. You could've-
Do you do like R&D as far as look for new opportunities for products to produce?
Yes, we do, all the time. We have an engineering lab, and we have a test lab on site, and we're continuously doing that. And I know I probably don't take advantage of whatever R&D credits or research credits are out there, and I probably should look into that with Helga also, because we do a lot of R&D. One of the founders of the company, the president, he's an engineer by trade, and he does most of our new product development.
One last question for you. In terms of your physical plant, are you at capacity, near capacity, or you have enough space where you're at?
We're probably at 60% of capacity from a production point of view, but we are running out of space from a production line point of view. So we are looking at the possibility of building another plant. We own some property on the other side of our parking lot. And we talked to Helga a couple of years ago about the potential of building a 10,000 square foot building over there, and we're still looking at that. So that would be, our expansion plans would be to move over there. But we would obviously need the help of the county to do it economically, because from what I understand, there's a fair amount of fees that are involved in putting up a building in Palm Coast. So that's one of the
That
things
was
we have to
actually
talk
how we
about.
met, right?
What?
That was actually how we met, when you
That's
were
how we
looking to
met.
do the expansion.
Yeah, because we were looking about doing an expansion. So that got put on the back burner temporarily, but that's definitely going to come back out onto the front burner.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Sure
you.
appreciate it. You finished, Jane? Okay, great. Well,
Fabulous.
thank you both.
Jane, we're going to have something on our agenda about the radio.
Yes, yes. If you want to, well, I can fill you in afterwards if you can't stay. So, all right, can I jump to that? Do you want me to jump ahead?
Absolutely, yeah. That's fine,
Okay.
because we're going to go to your report next anyway, so.
So, Art, before you leave, one of the programs that we're looking at, because of the conversations, like the most recent one that you and I had as well, with respect to being able to find employees and knowing that there are potential employees in our community and the surrounding area that just aren't aware of the jobs that were out there. I mean, you and I spoke about the signage issue and a bunch of other things, right? And it can be frustrating, especially when you've got a great message to put out there and you have no way of having it heard. So we had as a result of the conversations that we had on the radio station, one of the companies that had mentioned they were looking to hire actually had some phone calls made to them saying, hey, we're looking to find a job. How do we go about this? And it made us think that we're not taking adequate advantage of the radio. David Ayers does an amazing job with our community in reaching out, both Flagler, Volusia, and St. Johns County. So one of the things that the board is going to consider today is actually allowing us to move forward with a program that on the radio, David will create a little jingle for us so that people will recognize when our message is being broadcast. And we will give the businesses that are local the opportunity to advertise the fact that they're hiring. And so you could actually it's a 30-second spot. You could actually get up there and say, this is Art, we're, American Radionics, we're looking for this kind of employee. If you're interested, please contact, and we're probably going to forward that to CareerSource so that we have one point of contact, and then they would reach out to you from there. And this would be a service that we would provide to our businesses as part of the business expansion and retention program. So, yeah, so you're heard, right? Right? Yeah, we're very excited, so. Yes, I know, you were very clear about how frustrating it was for you. But this, I think, is going to help get the word out beyond just what's in front of the building, So, yeah, so you may be the first ones that we put out there. Great.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, Helga, so if you want to continue
Just
our
keep
executive
going?
report, yeah.
Okay,
Do-
So-
Well, we talked about this advertising. Do we want to
yes.
take some action here? So,
If the board would like to take some action on allowing us to go forward with that, we're looking at a $6,000 investment to start with. We are looking to partner with CareerSource on that so that it would be a shared expense. We have not gotten confirmation from CareerSource yet that they can do that with us. But regardless, if we can put $6,000 to the program, we can get started. We've got a proposal from the radio station that the ads would be $9.75 per ad. So if we were looking to do 100 ads every other week, or 50 every other week or so, it would come out to $975 a month for the total. If we shared it, it would be it would of course be half.
please.
Helga, we didn't talk about this earlier, but if we approve this and move forward and CareerSource comes forward, would the goal be to have them match the 6 or to pay 3?
The goal would be to have them match the 6.
Okay.
So do you need a recommendation?
Yes.
No, I'm fully supportive of the concept, and so I would move that the Economic Development Council recommend to the county commissioners that it approve expenditure up to $6,000 for radio advertising in our local community to attract employees, potential employees and employers.
So it's part of our budget. We don't need to go to the county commissioners. As long as you approve it, we're fine moving forward with the program.
Move to approve it.
Yeah.
Great, we have a
Second.
motion. We have a second. Any other discussion on the item? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. It was somewhat serendipitous that Art was here to speak to the topic, because I didn't know he was coming with Jane, so that worked out quite well for us. So one of the other things I wanted to let you know is that we're continuing to work with the Emergency Operations Center. There was a grant, if you recall, that we had received from the International Economic Development Council so that a formal response plan can be actually drafted and put into final form. The economic development component of that met with the representative yesterday, and we explained to her the things that we have been doing, how we've been doing them, why we've been doing them. So she's going to take all of those pieces and put them into the final plan. And I think it's worth mentioning that she had mentioned how impressed she was with our county departments overall, on how responsive they've been to the emergency situation, how our partners have stepped up to the plate, the hospital, FPL, everybody, just the schools being part of it. So it was nice to hear that. She says it's not as common as one would think. So we are still doing that. This month we had 2 presentations. Saturday did a presentation to the University Women of Flagler about what's going on in economic development and what we see happening in the future. And they're just a great group, and just want to thank them for letting me speak. And then on the 1st, I'll be speaking to FCARD with our new program that we demonstrated at our last meeting, the software that Lily put together for us that shows all the development going on in the county, so that we can make that so that we can make that available to the realtors to take advantage of as well. And we're continuing to develop that software. The radio station component we talked about. The strategic plan, we are due. We're looking at February, so we'll start putting things in place so that we can get a strategic planning session going. So more information coming on that. And then, Ms. Revels, if you want to talk about the economic snapshot that we discussed.
Yes. For those that weren't at our earlier workshop, Helga had passed out an economic snapshot that is a lot of data that's pulled from national and state sources, and a lot of it out of Jax USA. And I had recently had an article passed on to me regarding the economic state that the country is in as far as being positive versus negative in the snapshot of whether or not we might be headed towards a recession or slowdown. It was really interesting and enlightening, and I had forwarded it on to Helga and Katrina and said it would be really nice if we could boil this down to Flagler County. And Katrina was really excited about it, and she and I are going to put our heads together and take that snapshot of data and update it to more specifically Flagler County's numbers and try to look back at pre and post recession times and have that come out, and then be able to replicate that every quarter.
Every quarter, yeah.
And then we thought we could delve into it a little bit more in our February gathering.
So that's another exciting program. And then just so that you know, I got back from my recruitment trip to the north, and it was very successful this round. We have 3 companies that I met with that are particularly interested in Flagler County that we'll be visiting. So we'll let you know once those dates are set up, and we're going to show them around the community, have them meet some key stakeholders, and then see if we can get them to sign on the dotted line. So
What are their range of business?
So 2 of them are actually life science related, nutraceuticals, and one of them is both manufacturing in those fields, and then another one is general manufacturing. So they would all more than likely be towards the west side of the community along the Route 1 corridor. That's where we will probably focus their attention, that and the Sea Ray site, of course. So. And with respect to size, between the 3 of them, we're talking anywhere from 25 to 250 employees. So fingers crossed that one of them come through. We're also working on the 1 to 100 Bunnell Employment District. We've prepared another grant for them with the Florida Jobs Growth Grant applications. They approved it at their last council meeting, so we'll be providing that documentation to them so that they can submit the application. They'll be doing the application as a city with our support. And we've requested funding for half the length of the entire run. Last year they said the dollar amounts were too high, considering how much the overall money in the grant program was. We were requesting too large of a fraction. Oops. Sorry about that. Project Alice continues to move forward. We have another project called Project Sparks, which is manufacturing. That's also moving forward. Project Columbus is actually finishing up due diligence and struggling a little bit with some of the due diligence numbers, so we'll have some more feedback on that soon. And then I think that's the end of my report.
Any questions for Helga? Anyone? All right. So next up is council comments. We could start with you, Doc. Anything? Come on, that's the way. Okay. Oh, okay.
It's a quiet
Pretty-
day.
That's pretty easy. And it looks like we have no one from the public, so I think we're done with public comment. And just announce that our next scheduled meeting is for November the 19th, right here in the chambers. And there's nothing else. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.